If you've ever dealt with Joy-Con drift while playing a game, that is one of the most annoying things ever. All of a sudden, your character's running one way, and then they just turn and start going the complete opposite direction. This is not a new problem, and that's one of my issues. This is not a new problem. It's not like something they just discovered like a year ago. This has been going on for years.
Switch 2 actually got announced coming out June 5th, the same time we get Elena. Hopefully. It's a lot of stuff that's been going on in the world right now with tariffs and stuff like that. If you've been keeping up, you've been seeing it's been kind of affecting like release dates of Switches and stuff like that. So hopefully they can keep hold to that release date. So basically the big there's been a lot of news that has come out about the Switch 2 that has a lot of people, questioning it or looking at it kind of, whatever. Like one thing that came out was that the Switch 2 could have stick drift problems, as Nintendo confirmed that the Joy-Cons will not feature the Hall effect sensors. These sensors help prevent stick drift. So basically it's like you might have to deal with stick drift again this new season. The Switch 2 won't have achievements, Nintendo has confirmed. Pre-orders in Canada have been delayed to align with the still unannounced US pre-order date because of the tariffs and stuff like that. The Nintendo Switch 2 GameCube controller appears to only be compatible with GameCube classic games. So you can't get that controller and just play it, whatever you want. If you ain't playing GameCube games, it's basically a brick. The main thing that has come out of that is the Switch 2 is going to have $80 games. That's right. They've announced that Mario Kart World, Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom Switch Edition, Kirby and the Forgotten Land Switch 2 Edition, Mario Party Jamboree Switch 2 Edition are all going to be $80 games. So Nintendo is making their first step in saying, like, look, there's 70, that ain't enough. Come on for it, and little Billy don't care. Little Billy go scream and scream and scream until his parents go ahead and buy it. So, the kids don't know the difference. All they know is that it's gonna be in their system one way or another. There was some news that was basically saying the physical copies of the game wasn't nothing but little chips that basically said you could go online and download it, so it wasn't real physical editions. But it actually came out that was actually true, so that rumor wasn't true. But yeah, so how do you guys feel about this? These prices that they're going up to $80. Do you think this is about to make other companies feel like, hey, well, if Nintendo's saying they AAA games can be $80, you bought theirs, they're sold. I mean, And then, just the other news that we're hearing coming out about the Switch. How are you guys feeling about that? So let's start with Mr. Game a little, because I know he's been kind of keeping up with this closely.
So yeah, I mean it's Nintendo, and that's usually what you have to start out with. They have certain practices that aren't, I would say, the best in terms of like their practices and selling to the consumers. Um, I'm also part of another podcast, No Level Cap, and we did a recording of the reaction for the showcase I had, and there were so many things I already knew was going to be, a certain way. The GameCube controller, I already knew, I'm like, this is only going to be compatible with GameCube games, which makes no sense. It's like, and I'm sure it's going to cost like $80-$90. So you're going to spend $80-$90 on a controller on a controller for the Switch 2 that only plays GameCube games on the Switch 2. So yeah, it's just Nintendo being Nintendo. I grew up a Nintendo kid. I love Nintendo, but as far as like how their practice is going, they're kind of becoming like Apple. Hey, we're gonna say the Switch 3 is gonna come out. It's not gonna have a power button. You got to buy that separately.
Dude,
They
didn't
have
Nintendo release a tutorial for their system that actually gonna cost money? Like to teach you how to use the Switch, you got to pay for that.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that they have a digital like manual that shows you, oh, this button does this, and it's like you got to pay for it. Like, so why you couldn't just give us a manual or just like a digital PDF file or something? Like, I don't know, just things like that are just kind of weird to me. It's speculated that they're saying that the Nintendo Switch 2 is 10 times more powerful than the Switch 1, which I don't know if 10 times. I mean, it can run Cyberpunk. It not, of course, not at the fidelity at like a PC or the Xbox or PS5, but it only goes up to 1080, I think, resolution and 40 FPS. So that's a big downgrade of what you can run Cyberpunk at, but it still looks good on there. But I don't know. the prices. I mean, if you look back in history, Nintendo has always had expensive games. Some of the NES games were like $90.
Yeah, Killer
64
Instinct was
games
pretty
were like,
high. I saw Max's video.
yeah, 64 games were high. So it's just like, this has been a thing that we've seen for a long time, and the reason why they switched from the cartridges to the micro disc for GameCube because cartridges was just so expensive to make. If for those that don't know, Final Fantasy VII was supposed to be on 64, but the reason they couldn't put it on there because it was going to take like 30 cartridges just to put that one game to make that one game. So it's like, well, we can't sell someone. Well, I'm surprised they didn't, but 30 cartridges is just
Yeah.
ridiculous. So they just went to CDs based. So yeah, I'm the Switch 2. I was hyped for it. There's some games that I want to play. Metroid Prime 2, 4. The new Donkey Kong looks amazing. It's about time that he's got a new big 3D game. Mario Kart World does look fun, but I don't know if it's $80-$90 fun. And maybe they're thinking like, hey, Mario Kart 8 spanned like multiple console generations. Like that game went on for like 10 years and like almost in the likes of GTA 5. So maybe they're thinking like, oh, well, you're going to spend 90, 80, 90 out the gate. You're going to play it for like 30 years. So that's a good investment, right? $90 over 30 years, until the next Mario Kart comes out. So I don't know if that's their business practice with that, but it's a little weird. I thought I heard that Donkey Kong was potentially $70. So it's like, what are the third party titles going to be on there? Are they going to also be $80 to $90? I just think it's kind of crazy. 80 should be, if you're going to charge 80, just charge 80 period. Like there's no point to have 80 for digital and then 90 for the physical. I don't know. Like
Physical being 90 is
can't,
crazy.
yeah, and the fact that I still have to download something, I've spent $90 and I still have to take further actions to play the game instead of it just being on the disc or the cartridge or mini chip or whatever. That's a little ridiculous. The camera is overpriced. It doesn't even look like a good camera. It's just on the stand like a microphone, so it doesn't look like that. It's that great of a camera. I don't know, man. It's people still
That
gonna buy it, though.
Discord type thing they was showing out too. It's like that looked like it still needs work.
Well, the fact that
Nintendo,
you would show this off while people like were lagging, I would have said, "Don't. We're not even gonna show. We're just gonna announce. We're just gonna tell about it and show like the interface, but we're not gonna show the action running because you." I guess that's like indicative on people's connections. That's not necessarily like the thing itself, I guess, but that was still kind of, yeah. Now, here's the thing to link this to fighting games. I just thought about how is Street Fighter 6 going to play on this, and also, nobody's playing Street Fighter 6 on their Joy-Con. I wouldn't.
Exactly.
I'm definitely not playing Street Fighter 6 on a Joy-Con. So, if I was a betting man, there's gonna be some Mad Catz Arcade 6 or hitboxes. It's gonna probably be $300 to come out for this. Because Nintendo, they're gonna have something exclusive. Oh, yeah, we got the fighting pad, some fight pad or something like that. Watch when it comes out, watch what they got for it. Because nobody wants to play it on no Joy-Con unless they use a Pro controller, and that's also $90.
Yep.
So we'll see how that works. I at this point, I think it's solidified that playing Street Fighter 6 is like either on PS5 or PC or something like that. I don't think we're going to see in the tournaments being held on Switch because, again, I want to know how the performance is going to be. And like I said, watch what I tell you. They're going to bring out some $400 arcade stick and be like, dang, I want to play Street Fighter 6, but I got to spend an extra $400.
yeah, the Switch 2 version of Street Fighter 6 too has crossplay with all the other systems, so that's a great thing about it. But go ahead, MC Mason.
So, like Mr. Gamingler said, it's Nintendo. I mean, what are you gonna do, man? Like it's Nintendo. I mean, to be honest, when they had like the price, when people were like, "Oh, the price is like 400," like, but what is like $450? I'm like, wow, you're the asking price for the Switch 2 is almost as much as a PlayStation 5, huh? Well, I mean that. The thing about it is like, is the performance going to be comparable to a PlayStation 5? Like even like a base level PlayStation 5, we're talking like release day PlayStation 5? No. But you still want me to like pay $450 for it. Very strange.
Well, Nintendo kind of backed themselves in the corner with that because with their pricing, they never go down. They really never go down.
Yeah.
So you got the Switch and you got the Switch OLED. So it's like, okay, well, how much does the Switch 2 have to be? It's gonna have to be more, so
Yep.
they kind of backed themselves in
Yeah.
the corner with that.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. Like, and then what happens when they start making other versions of the Switch 2? Because there's probably not going to be just one version of the Switch 2. What if they do like, we're going to do like the Switch 2 Lite or something like that, or some other upgraded version like the Switch 2, the Switch 2 Cool or something like, you know what I mean? Like a new version of the Switch 2, like
Don't give
what
them no
happens when they
ideas,
do
man.
that? Huh? Yeah, right. Whoops. Because you know what, they would do something like that, right? Like they really would do something like that, and they've always kind of overpriced. Like you said, they've always overpriced their things, and they don't want to like lower their prices for their games. And I mean, this is just more of the same. It's all more of the same. I heard that like the kind of like starter game that we would consider like like the Wii Sports or whatever of the Switch 2 is basically going to be a separate game you have to pay money separately for, that normally a game like that would come like as a bundled into the game, and they're like, nah, bro, you gotta pay for that this time. You're paying for every single thing on this console this time. And unfortunately, people are going to pay that money. They're going to pay the money. It's like, people talk about like, I didn't know this until a while back, but like one of my buddies was talking about Live Nation, right? You know how like they raised the prices for all like ticket sales and everything like that. And, people paid the prices, and this was like during the pandemic, and you raise the prices, and then like the pandemic, like, well, let's say like what's called like calms down a bit, and you keep the prices at the same, like you keep the prices the same because people are going to pay them. They're going to they're going to buy the consoles. They're going to buy the consoles. They're going to buy the games. They're going to buy the controllers. So they're going to be encouraged to continue to do this stuff. Like it's not really, there's really almost no escape because Nintendo was such a really like a popular. I mean, at this point, I don't know if you could say popular because everybody's mad at them. I would say like established company. There's such an established company that people are willing to pay that money like straight up, man. And I'm hoping that like other people in the industry like don't follow Nintendo's example, and they don't like say, all right, well, we're just gonna charge $80 for our games too, because yeah, the game prices might go up, but you know what didn't go up? The amount of money I get paid at my job. Like I'm still making the same amount of money that I was making when you were charging like, $60, $70 like 2 years ago. I mean, it went up, but not enough to cover what's called like an $80 game. You know what I mean? Like something that doesn't like, that I can't eat, So it's like, what are you expecting me to go out and pay so much money for your console, especially when, like it's saying, like not everything on there is quite working properly. And I mean, it's not as powerful as some of the other consoles that are already out. Like the PlayStation 5 is kind of old at this point. It's like, you know what I mean? It's been out for a few years, and you come out with a new console, you say, pay me $450. Okay, so is it as good as this console that came out 4 years ago? Like 4 or 5 years ago? Well, no, I mean, it's not, but it's good and it's portable, and I mean, so give me your money. Yeah, come on, man. Like the least you could do is like, I don't know. I'm not sure what the least they could do is. I feel like them pricing everything at such a high rate is just like ridiculous, man. And unfortunately, like I said, people are going to pay the money, and my worry is what that influence is going to have on the rest of the prices for everybody else, because I mean, I don't know, man. It's very, very annoying to have Nintendo do this stuff because they know it's not even like they know that people really, really like grew up with their games. Like Mr. Game was talking about growing up in Nintendo. People grew up in Nintendo and they'll continue to like, to buy into this stuff, because it's such a big thing in their lives. So it's just like, it's almost, I would say, bordering on predatory in a way, like doing that kind of stuff, it's like, I don't, I'm done.
Well, Smash Brothers Brawl, a game that released in 2008, is still $30 at GameStop. So I mean, and you go look at other places, like you look on Amazon, the cheapest price I can find is $50. So I mean, this is the Nintendo we're talking about, that has always been like this. Like Mr. Game and MC Mazin has said already. And if it was anybody that was gonna make this step and just be like, look, we go do it, and who go do something, it would be Nintendo. Because we know at the end of the day, people can say about, like 80, but man, these, like, those Nintendo fanboys are like loyal fans. Like they are gonna get it. They're gonna pay for it. With the games being 80 some dollars, I mean, yeah, it opens the door. Like, one question you heard about this, where people were saying like, hey, if Nintendo's stepping out the door and saying this gonna be 80, what they go price GTA 6? So people like GTA 6 could be $100. But with all the other stuff that comes with Nintendo, the joysticks, the no achievements, all that other stuff. I mean, it's just, when you hear this stuff, you just like, it's Nintendo. Whatever they come out, whatever they give us, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know what Nintendo could really do at this point for them not to like sell. Like, they're sticking to their guns. They know who they are. They're selling to their fan base. And it's like, if they just keep giving them what they want, I mean, the people are gonna buy. Like, the people are gonna support. The people are gonna go out and draw. I mean, there's people out already saying like, man, I'm camping out 2 months ahead of the release. I already got my spot to make sure I get the Switch 2 first. You're already seeing it online. Like, as everybody talks about how, like, man, this system's doing this and doing that, people are already setting up their accounts to drop the bag when Nintendo releases everything for this Switch 2. So it is what it is. But honestly, I'm excited for the Switch. Metroid is coming back, which is amazing. We got the new Metroid everybody's been wanting and clamoring for. Keeping up hope for a new Smash Brothers. What else? We got Street Fighter 6 going there. It's gonna have crossplay with everything. It's with all the other systems for Street Fighter 6. So I mean, with the Switch 2 coming out, it's amazing. It's great. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff to complain about, but at the end of the day, they are releasing some great stuff on it for a great console that's probably going to do amazing. But it's just going to be that little stuff that you have to deal with that is just like, man, this is annoying. Like we're in 2025, 2026, still dealing with stick drift for controllers that's costing me 300 million zenny. So it is what it is. But I'm out of
That's
time.
not a little
So
thing.
to sum it all up,
That's not a little thing.
it's amazing, but it's gonna be it's gonna be Nintendo stuff in there. Let me not say little. It's gonna be Nintendo stuff in there that we're just like, I mean, it's just the stuff we go out to bear because it came from Nintendo. So, anybody else got anything they want to add?
Yeah, that whole stick drift thing, like, that is terrible. I mean, that this is an issue, and instead of like saying, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna squash that in the next version of the game, next version of the console," they say, "Nah, we're good." I mean, it's like this is something that directly interferes with your ability to play the games that you gotta pay $80 for. You gotta pay $80 for a game that you might not even be able to play properly because you got Joy-Con drift. If you've ever dealt with Joy-Con drift while playing a game, let me tell you, that is one of the most annoying things ever. It's like, when you're playing like a console game on a controller, people are like, oh, well, there's a dead zone on the on your stick. It's like there's like a spot on the stick where it's like there's movement and there's a dead zone, there's no movement, and then you start moving again. Okay, fine. But this is like a situation where like you're all of a sudden your character's running one way and then they just turn and start going the complete opposite direction without you having any input. Like, you're trying to click on something in a store or try to type something out, and then all of a sudden your cursor goes all the way to the top of the screen. Like, this is not a new problem, and that's one of my issues. This is not a new problem. It's not like something they just discovered like a year ago, or a couple months ago. This has been going on for years. This has been going on for years. And basically, they'd be like, well, you should go over here and, like clean out your controller, or you use like so much called some compressed air. That doesn't fix it, you gotta, we gotta open it up and then change this out. Or you could just go to the store and give us another $70 to buy a new pair of Joy-Cons, And And now they're like, oh yeah, we got a new console that you got to pay $450 for, and you didn't even fix a basic problem like Joy-Con drift. Like, that's crazy. And people are still gonna buy it. And then Joy-Con drift is gonna happen. It's gonna be like, oh man, Joy-Con drift. It's like, yeah, they didn't fix it. They told you that. They told you they didn't fix it. Wow, man.